The smarter you are, the lonelier you feel. Not because you're arrogant, not because you're broken, but because you're out of sync. Ever notice it? Sitting in a room surrounded by people, yet somehow no one's really with you. Small talk feels empty. Conversations stop where your questions begin. The world moves slow, while your mind's already 5 steps ahead. And here's the part that stings. What if intelligence doesn't set you free? What if it just builds you a prettier cage? It's not just in your head. Psychologists have a name for it. Actually, two: the idiocracy effect and the intelligence trap. Together, they explain why the smarter you get, the more trapped you feel. Not just trapped by the world, trapped inside your own mind. This isn't a pep talk. It's not a fix. It's a mirror, a question, a challenge to look closer, because once you see the bars of the cage, can you ever unsee them? You know what's wild? Nobody tells you this when you're growing up, but being smart doesn't automatically make life easier. In fact, sometimes it makes it harder, and not in the "oh wow, homework is boring" kind of way. It's more like you start realizing the world wasn't really built for you. Like, you're using a Formula 1 car to drive through bumper-to-bumper traffic. Yeah, you've got this incredible engine under the hood, but where exactly are you supposed to go? That's the trap, and it sneaks up on you. At first, being intelligent feels like a superpower. You answer questions faster than anyone else in class. You see connections no one else notices. Maybe you even ace tests without trying. People praise you. Teachers smile at you. You are gifted. But then, as you get older, the gap starts showing. The world starts feeling a little slower. People start asking questions you already figured out 5 steps ago. Conversations feel shallow. School starts to drag. And what once felt like a superpower, it starts feeling more like you're stranded on an island. And here's the kicker. It's not just about feeling bored. Psychologists have actually studied this. The world is literally set up for the average, because the average is where most people are. Think about it. Schools, workplaces, even entertainment, they're designed around what works for the majority. Which makes sense, right? But what happens when you're outside that majority? Suddenly everything feels like it's moving in slow motion. It's like trying to sprint through wet cement. Aaron Clarey talks about this in his book, Curse of the High IQ. And man, he doesn't sugarcoat it. He says if your IQ is around 130 or higher, you're basically a statistical anomaly. And here's the brutal math. For every 100 people around you, only about 2 or 3 are operating on your level mentally. Everyone else? They're playing a different game, different speed, different rules. It's not arrogance, it's just math. And that gap, it's not just in conversations, it's everywhere. Imagine you're in a classroom. The teacher's explaining something you understood before she even finished the sentence, but you have to sit there anyway, waiting for everyone else to catch up. Or you're at work, and your boss is making decisions that seem, well, dumb. But you're supposed to smile and nod because that's just the way we do things. After a while, that mismatch between how fast you're thinking and how slow the world moves, it doesn't just annoy you, it drains you, it wears you down. Clarey calls it friction. Like, your brain's moving at highway speeds, but you're stuck in a school zone. And the more you try to speed up, the more resistance you hit. Rules, systems, bureaucracy, meetings that could have been emails. You start wondering, is it me? Am I being impatient, arrogant? Or is the world really this inefficient? Turns out it's not just you. David Robson in The Intelligence Trap digs even deeper. He points out that intelligence doesn't always lead to better thinking. In fact, it can backfire. Smart people are really good at rationalizing things, even bad ideas. They're more likely to twist logic to defend what they already believe. It's called motivated reasoning. You know when someone's so smart they argue their way into a corner? Yeah, that. So now you've got 2 layers of the trap. First, you're surrounded by systems that weren't designed for you. Everything feels like it's moving too slow, too shallow, too safe. Second, your own brain can turn against you. Because the smarter you are, the better you get at convincing yourself you're right, even when you're not. That's why this isn't just a society problem. It's a you problem too. And that's what makes it so hard to escape. But here's where it gets even heavier. Being intelligent doesn't just make you feel disconnected from people. It can make you feel disconnected from meaning itself. When you see through patterns and illusions, when you spot flaws in arguments, when you question things others take for granted, life starts looking kind of hollow. Why bother with small talk when the conversations never go anywhere? Why play by the rules when the rules are broken? Why care about things that feel trivial? Some people call this existential loneliness. It's that quiet ache you get when you realize how different your perspective is from the people around you. Not because you want to be different, but because you just are. And the worst part? Nobody warns you about it. Nobody tells you that intelligence comes with this weight, that seeing more means feeling more, that understanding deeper means hurting deeper, that the sharper your vision, the clearer you see the cracks. It's like being able to see the matrix, but no one else around you even knows the code exists. And after a while, you stop trying to explain. You stop trying to pull people in. You learn to keep your thoughts to yourself, because explaining over and over gets exhausting, and being met with blank stares or polite nods, that starts to sting. So you pull back. You isolate, not because you want to be alone, but because alone feels easier, cleaner, safer. And that right there is the problem. Because intelligence, this thing that's supposed to open doors, starts building walls instead. The smarter you are, the fewer people you find who can keep up, and the fewer people you connect with, the more alone you feel. And the more alone you feel, the more trapped you become, not just by the world, but by your own mind. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real cost of seeing too much. But see, it doesn't stop there. Feeling out of place? That's just the beginning. There's something bigger going on, and once you notice it, it's impossible to unsee. It's what some people call the idiocracy effect. And honestly, it hits hard. You've probably heard of the movie Idiocracy. You know, the one where society gets dumber and dumber until the future is basically run by people who water crops with Gatorade. Yeah, it's funny, but it's also kind of terrifying. Because if you pay attention, you start realizing it's not just a joke. It's a mirror. The idiocracy effect is that feeling you get when you look around and think, wait, how are these people running things? It's when you watch a reality show dominate the news cycle while actual problems get ignored. It's when decisions get made based on popularity, not wisdom. When shortcuts, slogans, and memes replace nuance and critical thought. And if you're someone who likes asking questions, real questions, deep questions, you start feeling like an alien, like you've landed on a planet that rewards mediocrity while punishing curiosity. Aaron Clary talks about this in Curse of the High IQ. He says it's not just that smart people feel bored, it's that they're surrounded by systems designed to flatten them. Education, work, media, all tuned to serve the middle, not the edges. It's like being a rare bird in a city full of pigeons. Sure, you've got bright feathers and a sharper beak, but nobody cares. The city's built for pigeons. And you're just inconvenient. That's the idiocracy creeping in. The lowest common denominator starts setting the tone. And if you think faster, question deeper, or want more, you're either ignored or actively pushed out. Clary even says that in democracies, the majority, who often don't understand or value high-level thinking, end up shaping policies and systems that hold back outliers. Not because they're evil, just because, well, numbers win. It's not personal, it's just math. But it feels personal when you're the one stuck in it. And here's where it gets even trickier. It's not just the outside world creating the trap, it's inside your own head too. That's where the intelligence trap kicks in. David Robson wrote this amazing book, same name, and it's all about this crazy paradox. Being smart doesn't protect you from mistakes. In fact, sometimes it makes you more vulnerable. At first, that doesn't make sense, right? Shouldn't being smarter mean you see things clearer, make better decisions, avoid the dumb stuff? Turns out, not really. Robson explains something called disrationalia. It's this idea that you can have high intelligence and still think irrationally, because being smart doesn't automatically make you wise. It just makes you better at justifying things. You can spin arguments, defend bad ideas, rationalize poor choices, and the smarter you are, the better you are at convincing yourself you're right, even when you're totally off the rails. It's like, imagine your brain's a powerful lawyer, and every time you're challenged, that lawyer builds an airtight case, not necessarily for the truth, just for winning, and you walk away thinking, yeah, I've got this all figured out. Meanwhile, you're completely blind to what you missed. Robson shares all these wild examples, like Arthur Conan Doyle. You know, the guy who created Sherlock Holmes, literal genius, right? He spent years believing in fairies. Actual fairies. Photos of fairies. He was so smart, so confident in his thinking, that he didn't see the obvious hoax staring him in the face. That's the intelligence trap. Your brain's tools, logic, memory, pattern recognition, they're sharp. But sharp tools can cut in any direction. And without wisdom, without emotional awareness, without humility, those tools start working against you. And here's where these two effects, the idiocracy effect and the intelligence trap, start feeding into each other. You feel frustrated by a world that moves slower, thinks shallower, demands less. That's the idiocracy effect. And at the same time, your brain is over here playing 4D chess, convincing itself it's already solved everything. That's the intelligence trap. So now you're not just stuck between you and the world, you're stuck between you and you. And that's what nobody tells you about being smart. It's not just loneliness, it's not just boredom. It's a tug of war between a world that doesn't match your speed and a mind that doesn't always know when to hit the brakes. You see too much, you question too much, and sometimes you believe yourself too much. It's exhausting, it's isolating, and slowly, it starts to feel like no matter how smart you are, no matter how much you learn, no matter how fast you think, you're still stuck in the same cage, a cage made of glass. You can see out, but you can't quite step through, and the longer you sit inside it, the more you wonder if there was ever a way out in the first place. But here's the part no one really tells you. The part that creeps up on you when you're sitting alone, thinking circles around yourself at night. It's not just that the world feels too slow for you, or too shallow, or too loud in all the wrong ways. It's not just that people don't understand you, or that the systems around you weren't designed for you. That's frustrating, sure, but that's not the deepest trap. The real trap is that intelligence doesn't protect you from feeling stuck. It creates the walls. Every insight you gain, every pattern you notice, every flaw you spot in the way things work, they don't just pile up randomly. They stack, brick by brick, and without realizing it, you're building something. A tower, a beautiful, brilliant tower made out of everything you've learned, everything you've questioned, everything you've figured out. And maybe that's what intelligence really does. You're proud of it. You should be. You climbed higher than most people even try to. You see farther. You connect dots other people don't even know are there. But then, you start to notice something. That tower doesn't have a door. It doesn't have stairs leading down. It's not just a place to see from. It's a place you're stuck in. Because the higher you climb, the harder it becomes to come back down. The harder it even becomes to want to come back down. Because once you've seen through the shortcuts, the lies, the lazy explanations, once you've pulled back the curtain on how things really work, you can't unsee it. You can't just go back to pretending. You can't unknow what you know. Sure, you could climb down. You could blend in. You could stop questioning so much. Stop analyzing so much. Stop seeing so much. But you'd have to betray something in yourself to do it. You'd have to pretend to be someone smaller than you really are. And so you stay. You stay in that tower, watching from above, seeing everything, understanding everything, and feeling powerless to change any of it. That's the paradox no one warns you about. Intelligence gives you vision, but not control. It shows you the maze, but not the way out. It lets you see every crack in the foundation, but no tools to fix them. And maybe that's the heaviest burden of all, not just feeling trapped by the world, but feeling trapped inside your own mind, knowing too much, thinking too much, feeling too much, watching a world that feels slower, shallower, messier, and realizing you can't unsee it, you can't unthink it, and no matter how fast your brain moves, no matter how high you climb, no matter how much you understand, you're still stuck inside the same human limits as everyone else. And deep down, maybe that's the scariest realization of all, that intelligence doesn't free you, it just makes you painfully aware of the bars. And maybe that's what intelligence really does. It doesn't hand you answers or make life easier. It just shows you more of the picture. Flaws, cracks, patterns, dead ends. and leaves you standing there, wondering what you're supposed to do with it all. It doesn't give you certainty. It gives you questions. Questions that spiral deeper the longer you stare at them. Maybe that's why the smarter you are, the lonelier you feel, not because you're better, not because you're broken, but because you see too much, and there's no way to unsee it. If that's the cost of clarity, was it ever worth it? Watch the next video to see why intelligent people scare society.